What is up, YouTube? It is me, Tom, from the Epic Collective, and today I'm bringing you another match from Stephano. This one is simply a ladder match. It is Stephano versus poireauX. I can't pronounce that name. I'm sorry, I just can't. It's one of the weirder names that I've seen. I'll leave it at that. And so let's go ahead and get straight into it. Now, because Stephano did lose the last PvT that I casted, I got this one with the hope that he would win, and that we would see his typical style of play, or at least more typical, carried out successfully. Now, everything is very standard up to this point, naturally. Stephano's not 6-4, which would be stupid against anyone, especially a Terran. He's sending his Overlord out, and because they are in such close proximity on this map, the Overlord's just going to go right to his base, and should be able to get out safely, I imagine. Now, Stephano, okay, he was just extractor tricking. Makes sense. I was about to wonder, like, what is he doing with such early speed? And in case Stephano is up to making 3 drones at a time now, since his Overlord hatched. And hasn't yet put down his spawning pool. The drone scout is going in. He sees 1 gas and the barracks finishing up. So I can't really draw any conclusions here. He does know, however, that because he's taking this early gas, he might be going Banshees potentially, or gearing up for mech. Now, Stephano has gone ahead and put down his hatchery. That is natural, of course. And nothing was done to block it at all. And this Overlord diverted pass, getting ready for what I imagine will be a 5-minute 30 scout, or a 6-minute scout. And, I'm gonna call him P, has already started morphing in his orbital command, and in fact, it's going to finish it up in 10 seconds. The first Marine is out, and P's not being very active with it, and is making his second Marine. Now, the first mule has been called down, and so we will see a spike in income and the SUV has gone in and is being a bit of a nuisance. And that's something I would have just poked away with a drone. But again, personal preference. Reiterating that from last match. And it looks like a tech lab is going... No, a reactor, I'm sorry. Is going down, so we might potentially be seeing... reactor Hellions. And so Stephano, I think... Yep, he has 2 queens in production. And I expect he will move his first queen after injecting larva down to the natural to try and block this ramp and potentially take out any Hellions. Now, P has already started expanding, and Stephano, I think, is going to need to be a little bit more active in how much he's expanded. Because although this won't be an actual fully saturated expansion for quite a while, I still think it's something that you need to be wary of. Now, Stephano does have his Overlords getting ready to scout, positioned so that he could see the third in a few seconds, should it be taken. And 2 Hellions are coming across the field, but the ramp is blocked by Zerglings, actually, so the Hellions can't get by. And there's a Spine Crawler here, as well as a Queen, so these Hellions will be hard-pressed on their own to get anything done. Now, 2 more Hellions will be joining them, and these destructible rocks are being destroyed, or destructible debris, I suppose. And I'm interested to see if he will try and get anything done with these 4 Hellions. Look, I think as soon as he saw the Spine Crawler and the second Queen, he decided against it. Because there's really not much just 4 Hellions can do. 2 more are in fact coming. So, we very well might. Oh, but another barracks is going down. 2 more barracks. And so we might actually be seeing some bioplay come from this, instead of the usual mech transition. But again, he might just be building up additional barracks to reproduce his army. Now, Stephano has taken all 4 of his gases, and he's working on banelings, and moving into layer tech. So it'll be interesting to see what comes from this. And it's a Spire, so we're going to be looking at Spire play, potentially muta harassment. But I'm not entirely certain. Now, I am a little bit surprised that Stephano hasn't tried to take his 3rd just by moving some zerglings and destroying these rocks. But I don't think he wants the extra hassle of having to control both these passages, because Hellions could just come in and potentially kill any drones that happen to be here. Oh, Stephano's like, no, I do not want you here, and is just doing a bit of a push. Not much is done. We will go to the units lost tab. And Stephano's lost 81 of his resources, so I think he lost a zergling and potentially a drone. Or perhaps, I don't think he lost a baneling. Now the zerglings have started to take down these rocks, but Pulse has already fully saturated his base with the exception of gas. And so it doesn't seem like Pulse is going, or is it Pulse? No, P is going, I'm calling him Blue now. P is going too heavily into either mech or bio, instead having a marine tank mixture, which is somewhat popular. Now, but these mutas are out with the Spire finished, and so against these marines and tanks, I mean, they could be quite potent if they get the right positioning, but Stephano loses already 1 muta, and that's a lot of gas to just waste. Now, Stephano does have a substantial number of zerglings, but not nearly enough to hold this off, combined with the mutas. The banelings explode, killing only a few marines and part of the tanks. But all the tanks do fall, and in the production tab, Stephano is making 4 more mutas and 10s. But although these marines are plentiful, they are very low on health because of those stims. So this Spine Crawler is taking them out 1 at a time, and I think that these drones could even finish them off. But no, a few zerglings will do the trick. Now, with more mutas out on the field, I do not know if he's going to try and harass. Well, because he doesn't have that many marines. He has 19 marines, and that's just not enough to A, continue pressure, or B, protect. But missile turrets are going down, and so harassment is definitely not viable anymore. And I think that with the Zerg Flyer upgrades coming up, and the double Spire, in fact, because 2 Spires are down at the same time, I believe. It should be. I'm looking for the second one. Oh, there it is. Stephano's established his 3rd and 4th. That was rather quick. Sorry I hadn't noticed that. And I don't see the second Spire, but I know it has to be here. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's ground carapace. I'm confused. In any case, Stephano is continuing to make more mutas. And so I'm wondering what his plan is, considering that he already has 10 mutas. Now, if he does get the number up to 24, he will be able to one-shot these turrets, but he will still take quite a bit of damage from them. So after 2 seconds, he can destroy a turret. But But Stephano does not know that these turrets are down, so anything can really happen. Now, it does look like poireauX is continuing to go with the bio play, adding in a few bits and pieces here and there. He does manage to force off a cancel, so a few minerals are lost, but half the health on 2 meters. A bit of a trade. Now, Stephano is saturating these bases very quickly, and poireauX is just now establishing his third. I think that Blue is just now establishing his third. I'm sorry. The names are completely throwing me off. I'm still stuck on last game. Now, these mutas, because there are only a few turrets that are just now going up, I don't know if they will finish in time. Oh, it looks like they will. But Stephano managed to pick off the SE that was building it. And losing... it looks like maybe potentially 2 mutas. But these zerglings are moving up, forcing the troops of Blue to move back. Now, with the hive morphing in, and with more mutas in production, as well as burrow being researched, as well as melee attacks, and another fire upgrade, Stephano is really investing into this. He doesn't quite have 24 mutas, but he's certainly getting there. And he's actually establishing his 5th at this point. Now, I think that these drones will start to long-distance mine, and so if they had waited a few more seconds, that would have been better, but small things. Now, Stephano is going to work on the base, but at the same time, creep spread is being stopped, and I think Blue is trying to be as intimidating as he possibly can. But that is a lot of banelings, and that will completely decimate the Marine force. But the tanks are siege. Man, that was a lot of banelings. And at the same time, now, with Blue's army gone, these mutas are free to do whatever they want. I mean, there are a lot of mutas. He did lose 2 mutas in that fight, so it's down to 19, I believe. But they can completely destroy anything that's in this base, with the exception of the newly made army. But Stephano has a 40 supply lead over his opponent, and that's the exact position that he needs to be in. More mutas are joining him in every second. 3 are continuing to be made, and a Greater Spire has not been morphed yet. But I can't move that. Yeah, no Greater Spire yet, but there is Hive Tech, so it looks like he got it just for the upgrades. And Stephano is pushing forward with his mutas against these Marines, which I think is somewhat of a bad trade. I mean, he lost 6 of them, but he completely destroyed all the Marines that were there. And now he can just take out these tanks. And I'm surprised he hasn't been pushing forward with these zerglings to at the same time get rid of these units here. But there is a planetary fortress, so you should always be aware of that. And I believe that Stephano is. I'll check.
Mineral field.
Yeah, he does in fact know. Now, it looks like Stephano has almost mined out his main. And poireauX is not even bothering to get these last few hundred minerals, which I think that he should. But again, I'm nitpicking here. Now, that's a lot of zerglings. And this base is just going to completely be destroyed. I don't really approve of the use of banelings on the SCVs. I feel like that was a bit of a waste. What I would have done is just sent my mutas in, destroyed the planetary fortress, destroyed and a 6 is being established actually before Blue has actually gotten his 4th. Now these overlords are still here, so I'm thinking that they're there just to detect drops that aren't sent around this way. But these mutas are being very, very active, and they're continually destroying infrastructure and small amounts of units, and that does affect a lot of gameplay. Now these mutas are 2 mutas are picked off there, and that might come to hurt him. But Stephano thinking about having a baneling bust, and then seeing the active scans, and he's not going to do that, I think. I think he's putting these banelings here so that when it expires, he won't think to scan again. But everything is very low in health, and so Stephano is making 80 lings. 80. He was at 40 of his supply, just right there. And I think that that should be able to completely destroy this. I would like to see some additional SCVs to repair his mech army, but unfortunately, we did not see that. Now these medevacs are occasionally picking up. Oh, and there is a GG from Blue, and that'll be it. So, I'm Tom, and Stephano just completely destroyed everything, including the main of his opponent, using only Mutalisks, I might add. And that was a lot of Mutalisks. So, I wish you good luck in your gaming, and I'll see you next time.